Thanks to Pedal for sponsoring a portion of this video. So I live and breathe smartphones, which is a very weird thing to say, but I love that world. But we kind of hit a wall like 2 years ago where like the rectangle was perfected. We get different sides of rectangles. Sometimes they're round, sometimes they're squared off, sometimes the backs are different, but the rectangle's a rectangle. The first area of innovation we've seen in the mobile world in a while has been in the world of foldables. It's something new. They are clearly not perfect and very definitely in their infant stages, but they are getting better and each iteration fixes a problem that came before it. So as new foldables come out on the market, I get pumped, not just because I love playing with toys, because what it's going to mean for the whole smartphone world. And the big name that's being mentioned to enter this foldable space is Google, with either a Pixel Fold, allegedly we're going to see at some point in 2022, and also further innovation. And if that phone did end up getting canceled, which I will talk about, what that's going to mean for the rectangle-based Pixel 7. This video is going to combine kind of the foldable world with the Pixel world. It's kind of been going on in my head, and I've been sort of bouncing around the idea for this video for a while. And mostly I want to talk about the future of the Pixel line and whether or not it's going to go foldable and what I think is going to be next sort of for Google. So let's back up a little bit. As far as the design goes, the Pixel 6, it brought in a brand new look that I think it's fair to say was pretty polarizing at first. But I think that now that it's out and people's got their hands on it, I think it's a hit. I love the quirky looks of the Pixel 6. I don't expect Google to pivot to an all-new look for the next iteration. It wouldn't be surprising though, because they do change their design when a college student changes majors. And this is kind of a gripe that I've had with the Pixel line for a few years. It's had a hard time figuring out what it wants to be and what it wants to do. One year it's a flagship, next year it's a mid-range, then it's a flagship again with a new design. It's hard for it to gain a foothold when consumers are unsure generation to generation what they're going to get. I do hope that they stick with the current vision of the Pixel 6 and that new visor look is here to stay, just more refined. I also wouldn't be mad at a panda colorway with the accent button like they used to do. I love that on the Pixel. When it comes to doing Android the right way, right? Like, I mean, it's Google. They, second to none, they make the software. And for years, they've prioritized really awesome software and function over form. But with the advent of obviously the Pixel 6 Pro and the Pixel 6, they proved that they can make a good-looking phone while keeping functionality a priority. And it seems like for the rest of the smartphone industry, that seems like a big duh. But for Google, it's something that they've been reticent for some reason to do. So all that aside, it's Pixel 6. What do we know about what's coming? Well, we know that Google is developing Android 12L for larger displays like tablets and foldables. This means that the company knows that foldables are here to stay, and they're going to make sure that their software can support the movement better and provide and improve software experiments. So Android 12L expected to release early 2022-ish, laying the groundwork for future foldables on the Android platform. They're also going to give us some hope, though. Maybe we'll see that Pixel Fold emerge as a flagship device for that eventually. Although there's still no acknowledgement of it from Google or when we're going to get our hands on it. The sad news on that front, though, received recently, comes from the DSCC, confirming with supply chain sources that Google has decided to not bring Pixel Fold to market as was supposed to be in the first half of 2022. Sources have indicated that Google believes the product wouldn't be as competitive as it needs to be. So just a moment of silence for that. This does tell us, though, that Google's foldable is likely delayed, but I'm refusing to believe, I am not going to believe that it's gone for good. Even if Google decides not to launch a Pixel Fold anytime soon, we could see Android tablets and other foldables on the platform get some much needed TLC with Android 12L. So I'm gonna opt for the opinion that it's delayed and coming later than we expect. Let's say into 2022. I literally made that up out of my head. But I'm just hopeful. I love to see Google's version of foldables and what you can do with either two screens or a bendable display will be really awesome. We've seen Samsung, Oppo, Huawei, and others sort of take their approach on foldables and have to make their own tweaks to software. But having Google make those tweaks built into Android 12L, I think will be pretty dope. So some things we do know that Google is working on a new version of the Tensor chip, codenamed, and this is the best codename I've ever heard, Cloud Ripper, right? That's just me, that sounds awesome. The codename is actually discovered inside of the Android kernel. So this is the chip that could be what Google decides to use in their coming Pixel Fold. At the very least, it'll be in next year's Pixel 7. The 6 and 6 Pro have stacked up pretty well with Google's first foray into their own hardware with the Snapdragon 888. And I would safe to assume, I think the next generation will bring even more improvements in performance. The basic things, right? More powerful, more battery efficient, and also hopefully lend its way to new AI things like better computational photography. So whatever phone you guys like to get, whether it's Pixel or something different, the decision to make a phone can sometimes be complex. What is not complex, though, is the importance of establishing, building, and maintaining good credit, especially as an adult. And the folks at Petal with the Petal 2 credit card are helping to make that possible and easy. So obviously there's a lot of credit cards you can choose from in the world, but Petal 2 is really intriguing for, well, a few big reasons. The big one is there's no annual fee or any other kind of fees you're going to be paying to use this and start establishing your credit. And some of the cool things about the Petal 2 card is the cashback. So you'll get 1% cash back on all eligible purchases right from the get-go. And then when you make 12 on-time payments, which helps your credit anyway, it actually goes up to 1.5%, which is pretty awesome. Right now, the APR range is from 12.99% to 26.99%. Additionally, their app makes it really easy to track your spending, make on-time payments, manage subscription spending, which can be super easy to forget about. So if you are looking to establish credit, or if you're looking to rebuild credit, credit cards are a really good way to go about that. So if you want to check out the Petal 2 card, go to petalcard.com/John Rettinger. That's PETAL card, but the link for it will be down below. So I'm gonna temper my excitement for a minute, and I'm just gonna call us a list of, can I say demands? It's not really demands, but things that I want to see if this Pixel Fold does ultimately become uncanceled and come out to the market. And a lot of this can also be for what I would like to see make its way into the Pixel 7, aside for the foldy part. Better biometrics. I'm happy that the Pixel 6 currently has a fingerprint sensor with all of us wearing masks, but I think it's safe to say it needs to be faster and better than the one that's currently on the 6. And Google, in all fairness, has improved its accuracy with the recent update. But at the same time, I think moving away from the optical reader to maybe ultrasonic system would really help the fingerprint scanner be less of a speed bump in everyday use. But one level higher, do you remember the Pixel 4 XL? Google had some of the best facial recognition unlocking software that I've seen. Project Soli was pretty amazing in every way, mostly for the facial unlocking stuff. Didn't do much outside of that. I would love biometric redundancy to make its way to the Pixel 7, Pixel Fold, and give us a choice. Do you want that amazing facial unlock that's secure and can be used to unlock apps and sort of give you your passwords, or do you want to use your fingerprint? Those would be two options that I would absolutely love to have in here. And if you ultimately end up getting the Pixel Watch, that could be yet another way to identify who you are and unlock your phone. This is a pretty simple ask, and one I think everybody could go for, but make battery life better? I think when we heard that the Tensor chip was coming and would be paired with a 5,000 mAh battery on the Pixel 6 Pro, my mouth was watering for the optimization potential and sort of the battery gain experience. But the 6 and 6 Pro were fine. They left a lot to be desired in the battery department. So Google, I don't know if you're watching this or somebody's watching this, please make battery life better. Let us just be blown away by battery life. I don't care if you make it a bit thicker, it can be a super chunky boy. Just give us amazing battery life, please. So the camera on the Pixel 6 is arguably like the marquee feature of any Pixel phone. And Google offered some really awesome features this generation. I think my favorite's Magic Eraser, of course, Action Pan, but there's still more that could be done. And for years, Google did their best with essentially old Pixel 2 hardware that just kept getting updated. And maybe it's me when the Pixel 6 was released. I expect it to be blown away since they finally upgraded the physical hardware in there. It seems like it's still teetering the line between, first and second place, so still amongst the top of any phones out there. So after a year of collecting data, hopefully they can refine the software and then secure that top spot. But what I'm expecting is going to be just a mile. So there's a lot coming from Google, even if we never see the Pixel Fold. We have presumably a Pixel 7 coming, probably a Pixel 6a in varying sizes. And Google, again, is working to find the identity of the Pixel line. And I hope what they found with the 6 and the 6 Pro is what they stick with. And I hope that they decide to go all in on the Pixel line, like it appears they're going to do. They've got amazing hardware, amazing software. They've got the war chest to compete with the biggest names in mobile out there. And I think now they're offering a really compelling competitive package. If they can keep the price points right, whether they go foldable or not, I think a lot of people in the next couple of years are going to find Pixel phones in their pockets.